Hello, Marietta here. Welcome back to my channel. To all my new subscribers, I really appreciate you. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for subscribing. We have a lot of people watching, but they're not subscribing. We are on a 10K journey over here. To get to 10K, we need you to subscribe. Come on in. We uplift, motivate, and inspire. And to all my day ones, y'all know how I feel about y'all. And I just want to talk to y'all for a little bit about the fact that it is allergy season. I want to talk about seasonal allergies and what they do and how they look when these allergies come upon you. It was just on yesterday that me and my son was out riding. You know, the pollen is falling very heavy. The pollen is all over the place. You ride down the road, you see cars, all of them are green, riding around, look like we just wrapped in a whole pollen allergic reaction. We just wrapped up in it. So as we're wrapped up in all this pollen that's on the outside of our vehicles, we take our cars to the car wash and we try to run them through to get the pollen off the vehicle and everything so that it won't be covering us up. And then overnight, I assumed that my vehicle was still clean. So we gets in the vehicle, and then on yesterday, my son started sneezing. He started coughing. His eyes was runny. I mean, he had the runny water, itchy eyes, and everything was going on. And I'm like, what in the world is happening? I mean, just runny nose, sneezing. So then as I thought about it, I said, well, I rinsed the van off. I washed it down. What is happening? But what I did not do, because we was on the run and we had too much going on and too many appointments, I happened to look over and I looked on his side of the vehicle over here, and I happened to look at the dashboard, and I saw a light layer of green pollen that has made its way into the vehicle. So this pollen don't just stay outside the vehicle. When I say we was wrapped in pollen, we was truly wrapped in pollen. So as I begin to wash the vehicle and get the pollen off of the vehicle on the outside, it seemed as though the vehicle was covered with pollen on the inside. So I made my way out here with my soap and water, and I began to wash Big Blue down. Y'all know this is my Big Blue van, the one that I really love so much. And so I began to wipe down the console, wipe down his seat, wipe down the floor, just begin to wash the inside of the van to get as much of the pollen out of the vehicle as I possibly could. And then I also had to go in and get him his nasal spray and his Claritin so that he can get some type of relief, because the allergies that we're having right now, I have never seen pollen fall this heavy. I know even the doctor said a lot of times when we come from up north and we come down south, it seems like our allergies, I too have allergies, it seems like our allergies get revved up all the way to 100, and it seems like we just cannot come out of it. You know, we just get the sneezing and we get the runny nose, we get the watery eyes, we just be going through it, and it seems like it takes such a big toll on us to the point where we get the itchy throat. I mean, we get it all, and it just seems like it just drags us right on down if we don't get that medication, start right in with it right away and try to get it, you know, under control. But in the meantime, we got to make sure that we're doing the things that we can do to keep ourselves safe and not be dragging this pollen from the outside into the inside of our vehicle, inside the house, and then just spreading it all around and continue to just be one big ball of pollen, you know, all over the place. So what I've learned to do, especially with him, I learned to, when he come in the back door, I'll try my best to strip him, take his clothes off, put him in the washer right there by the back door, put him in his robe, and then to go wash him down, wash his hair, whatever. Because whether y'all know it or not, even when we're out here walking around during the day, as the pollen is falling on our vehicles, it's also falling on our skin. It's falling on our skin. And this is why our allergies, when you don't get that stuff off of you as soon as you get home, as soon as you get to your safe place where you can actually get out of those clothes and put on some more clothes, it's better that you take those clothes off. I know we don't want a lot of laundry in this season, but this is what we got to do in order to stay safe, in order for us to be able to breathe right, and for us to stay healthy also in this same season. Because nobody wants to walk around with green pollen, spreading it all through your house, going to bed with it, you know, just touching everything. And that's another thing, when we're in the vehicles, even though we've gotten through that 2020 era, y'all continue to keeping wipes in your vehicles, keep some sanitizer in your vehicles, in your purse or wherever, so that you will have something to use to clean this pollen up once you go in and out of your vehicle. Because even when you're touching your door latch, so I realized that my son was going through it because the pollen was just everywhere, outside the vehicle, inside the vehicle. So I didn't want him to drag it through the house, so we started stripping him at the door so that I could actually keep that pollen under control coming inside and outside of the house, so that he would feel a lot safer. So as we shared his diagnosis and everything with his primary care physician, she was able to set up a medical plan for him, for his allergies, to make sure that he is able to move around in the daytime and not be sneezing a whole lot and going through the whole allergy spill every time he comes outdoors, because I want him to be able to enjoy the great outdoors as well. I want him to be able to get out here and feel some of this coolness and enjoy running in the yard and playing in the yard or whatever. But it's hard for us to get us outside and get the children outside when we know that the allergies will take them down, and the allergy is not making them feel better. So that makes them not feel better, so then you don't feel better. So with these allergies the way they are right now, the pollen is falling heavy. Know that the pollen is falling heavy, and know that the pollen is falling everywhere. Know that it's not just on the outside of your vehicle, it's on the inside of your vehicle. So constantly, maybe 3-4 times a week, you may have to just continue to keep wiping down your vehicle as you see it. It's easy to see. That's one thing I like about it, is that you can recognize it because it's a light green layer that lays on everything. So when I see that, I take my towel and I go in and I go to wiping and go to washing everything down inside of here, so that I won't have that problem of having too much pollen all around. So that is why sometimes if it gets too much on the home that you live in, you may have to just go ahead and power wash it or call somebody in to power wash it. That way you won't have that pollen wrapped around where you live as well, inside of your home and all on the outside of the windows and things of that nature. Because those particles can get inside the house and they can cause a whole dust mite, which cause a whole nother reaction when the pollen gets in there and the dust gets together, and then you turn in we turning our air conditioners on now, and they're blowing through the vents and things of that nature. We really have to be careful. The pollen is really ramped up on an all-time high. And I took the minute and I had to look up what causes spring allergies. And what I came up with was common spring allergies are triggered and range from pollen and mold or insect bites. You can you have to first be exposed to an allergen to become allergic to it. And if an allergen develops, your body will produce IgE, antibodies, as an immune response because it thinks the allergen is an invader, causing your allergy symptoms. And then I got to thinking about the trees, because we do live off grid, so we're surrounded by a whole lot of trees. So of course we probably get pollen 100% more than most people if you live in the city or whatever. And I'm sure they still get pollen in the city, but I'm saying being living off grid and being surrounded by trees, well, I'm sure we get it 100 times more, because they're saying that the trees and the grass pollen, maple and oak tree pollen, as well as Kentucky blue ray and Timothy grass pollen, are examples of the common types of pollen seen in spring. However, the types of trees and grass that bloom and cause symptoms may vary by your region. So just know that the pollen is falling, the pollen is heavy, it is normal, it's gonna fall. We just got to know what to do and know that these are triggers for us, and this is what happens when we have these allergens, because we've been exposed to them now. So the body is trying to fight it off, but it's an invader. So therefore we got to take some medications in order to get us back on track. So make sure you got that Claritin on deck. Make sure you got that Flonase on deck. Make sure you got a lot of tissues around, and then make sure that you are very observant of your child first and foremost, and because they may not understand what is happening or what's going on or why they feeling the way they feeling, or they sick, or they may think that it's a sickness, and they may not understand all this sneezing and teary eyes and scratchy throat and things of that nature. But it's the pollen. The pollen is heavy, and know that the pollen not only can be on the outside of your vehicle, it also can find its way inside of your vehicle. And when you're dealing with seasonal allergies, it's no fun. It's not no fun. It's no joke. It's no walk in the park when you got to stay in the house and you want to go outdoors, but you can't go outdoors because the pollen is so heavy and falling so much. And the thing about it is, tree pollen is a fine powder. It's a fine powder pollen that makes it easy for the wind to carry it for miles. The wind can blow tree pollen for miles because it's like a light powder. And the amount of tree pollen in the air dramatically varies by the season and the geographical area. So therefore we know that this pollen is traveling through the air, and it can be carried a long ways. And you might not know, understand and say, well, I don't live around trees, I don't know why I got pollen. You got pollen because the pollen is a fine powder, and it travels, it moves. The wind can blow it, and the wind can take it where it wants to take it. So just know that Be careful while you're out here. Take your medications if you need to. See your doctor. Let your doctor give you a treatment plan if you need to. But just know that the pollen is falling. The pollen is heavy. And we have to really be on guard and make sure that we're doing what we can do to stay safe while we out here. Because I'm trying to tell you, my eyes was running. My nose was running. I was going through the same symptoms that he was going through. But we making it through. We're doing what we need to do to stay safe and to be able to get these allergies under control. So with that being said, that is my spiel on seasonal allergies, and I pray that it helps somebody to understand exactly why you have these allergies, what to do in the midst of these allergies, and just know that it's normal for us to have these things because, we are in the season of allergies right now, and it is springtime, so the trees are actually getting their color back. They're getting all their beautiful leaves, and they're so good to look at and so pretty to look at as they coming back. I thank God for how they look right now, because right now, just to see all the beautiful colors of green come together, can't nobody do a palette or artwork like God. Come on, somebody. Just give Jesus a round of applause. Because can't nobody do that artwork like him. But yet and still, y'all just be safe. I love y'all. Thank y'all for listening. I really appreciate it. And if you're out here and you're dealing with seasonal allergies, just know that you're not alone. And I love you. Be blessed.